So what are some of the raw talent ability that give you an edge in art? Okay. So like we all know that you can sit down and teach a person how to do light and shadow,
Uh-huh.
but what's gonna give a person the advantage of picking that up? You know, some people pick it up in a lesson, and other people it takes 5 years, right?
Right.
Right.
So I think one of them is incredible hand-eye coordination.
Mm-hmm.
So being able to uh, tell your hand what it can do, what it should be doing, and the hand does it. I think the other one is visually being able to see things in a way that a very literal way. Okay, so you know, it's interesting when I walk around with like my kids who aren't, their level of noticing things aren't at my level, but I'll ask them, do you notice how the light is hitting the side of that building and how it's light on one side and dark? No, I didn't even think of that. Well, you know, that's what I'm seeing as an artist. And do you see how this shape here compositionally, like this house and this tree right here is just sort of appealing. It's a rule of thirds. They're like, what's the rule of thirds? I explain them the rule of thirds. And so now the kids are sort of picking up those things. But it's something that I think a person with raw talent gets it right away.
I think so, but people have to be taught to observe as well. Like I remember going into some of my first figure drawing classes and not really having any kind of goals. Like I was so nervous to be in there. When I was in school, I didn't do very well in figure drawing class. I mean, I just didn't. You know, I was average. And then I took a figure drawing class from Don Sigmiller about 10 years ago because I wanted. It was neat. I could take a class for free because I was teaching at the same at the university.
Yeah.
So I just attended his class, and I had more experience as an artist to be able to go, okay, Don, off the record, like, give me the 3 most important things I should be doing, because I feel like I sucked when I did this in school. And he's like, okay, and I can't remember all 3, but the one thing, the one thing that he said, was, because I was starting to draw and I was going off the paper. And he's like, well, you really want to fit the figure perfectly onto your paper, not too small and not too big, so it's cropping out. And that really should be your goal. So the measuring, and I was like, this is great to just, and I'm sure when I was in school before, they probably told me that, and I probably just didn't even hear it.
Yeah.
But so I think, and what I'm getting at is, I think that we become more wise as we become older. So I've seen a lot of older students learn things faster.
You must be really wise if it comes with age.
So I think what it is, going back to like natural ability. So like this is the equivalent of like a basketball player being tall and being able to jump, having the fast twitch muscles as opposed to slow twitch. I think for the artist's equivalent is hand-eye coordination, the ability to like notice and see things, and these things again can be learned, I think, but there is some raw ability here, the ability to like replicate. So I think that's where, like, this is where I had this ability as a kid, where you could put any sort of picture in front of me, and I could look at it and copy it, as really closely, and that helped me a ton because I was able to learn a ton every time I copied a drawing or photograph or something like that. I think that, so those are kind of the 3 things. And then you apply those things to craft, and you learn when to use light and shadow, and you learn when to use reds and blues, and when to use grays and browns, right? Color theory. And then you learn composition. All those things are sort of built on top of that. And then I think the creativity element, I think that can be learned as well. I think you could teach someone to be creative by doing certain exercises, certain techniques, and I guess tactics to like unlock their brain and expose them to more things, even if it's just noticing the world around them better, and then teaching them to combine things that you wouldn't think to combine, which is what creativity is. So my answer is there's people who have some raw talent that makes this easier for them, but it can be learned, but it's harder.